Oh yeah, anarchy is not what you think it is. True anarchy does not exist in the West. That goes for my hometown of Australia. Hometown, home country, America, Canada, Europe. Anarchy, real anarchy, does not exist in any of these countries, in any of these continents. There's one place where true anarchy exists, and I will tell you, and it's the one place you don't expect the least. China. The laying flat movement in China is true anarchy. What do I mean by true anarchy? What is a real anarchist? What is real anarchy? Real anarchy is doing nothing. Let me repeat that. Real anarchy is doing absolutely nothing, giving up, surrendering to your animal self, your animal instinct. That's real anarchy. A real anarchist will literally be living like an animal. Let me explain to you what I mean. The schoolboy philosophers will sit around and discuss anarchy, but it's just fashionable for them. It has no meaning at all. They'll sit around a table and discuss this and that. But each time, I want you to really get this. Each time anarchy or anarchists discuss anarchy, there's a doing, there are actions. I always say life is action, so there must be some kind of action. But if we have to be honest, if we had to have a clear look of what real anarchy is doing absolutely nothing. Fuck all. A real anarchist will not protest because to protest is to follow some sort of guideline, rules, and regulations. Listen to what I'm saying. To protest is to toe the line, is to involve others, to give other people jobs, to get them involved in your business, to get the government involved, to apply to do some sort of protest and have the police protect you. The reason I say true anarchy exists in China is simple. The laying flat movement taught me one thing. When you surrender and do your own thing, like the youth in Asia, in China are doing, where they give up climbing the ladders in the Xi Jinping CCP party, and they lay around, literally lay flat and do nothing. They do not protest the government. They do not even campaign. They don't go on the street and start a riot. They don't write up rules of how they are sovereign individual, sovereign entity. They don't do any of that. They become really dangerous to the movement. I'll make a video on one day of how, if you want to be the most dangerous human, the most dangerous person to the whole of society, do absolutely nothing. Do you see how the the CCP party was panicking when a bunch of young men and women decided to just lay flat and do nothing. They're not protesting, they're not asking for something from them. They're not doing anything at all. They just went on about their day, play chess in the park, and live in tents. That's true anarchy. Another real anarchist before he lost his mind, I would say Ted Kaczynski was a real anarchist. That's before he started making the boom, 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 and sending them to airports uh, uh, and universities and whatever. He was a real anarchist. He wasn't living uh, on society's term. He wasn't sucking on society's tits. He was just living in his cabin with no power, nothing. He depended on the library, of course, but before he became political, a neo-Luddite or whatever, he was a true anarchist. That's why I disagree with him blowing people up and whatever. I disagree with that. I'm not for it at all. But I think he was a great man who was pissed off or easily pissed off, and yeah, he did what he had to do. I can't think of one example of a true anarchy movement in the West because it doesn't exist. All these little anarchists, show this video to an anarchy friend. He's bullshitting himself, trying to fight the government. What's wrong with you? You're not a real anarchist, bro. A real anarchist just taps out, literally taps out, and doesn't bother anybody. That's a real anarchist. They do nothing at all. They don't even make videos like this. They won't bother to make videos like me. They won't bother to make a case, campaign, protest, dress up, sell merch, make a movement, write constitution, argue for their stance. Nothing. They just would just do nothing. If you want to see a real anarchist, look up the laying flat movement in China. That's real anarchy. The ones the ones that sit around in the parks and do nothing. And sometimes to support themselves, they'll work a few months and then they'll go back to doing nothing. That's real anarchy, right there. And it was started by a 26-year-old factory worker, while these philosophers sit around discussing anarchy. Shame, shame.